Good morning, Chad here with the Summit Group at KW Commercial. We have our 5-question Friday here today, and I'm excited to have Peggy DeMuse, who's a longtime friend of mine, business colleague of mine who we do a lot of business together, and just an incredible resource, incredible background. She's a top business broker with Sunbelt Business Advisors here in the Midwest. And Peggy, thanks for coming on the call today. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Chad. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and just giving some background on you as well, too. I know you're a fellow Tommy, right? So you're a St. Thomas graduate.
Go Tommies.
Go Tommies. And as you see on the screen here, I mean, you've had a lot of successes with your business, and I think you're really, really unique in that you were a CPA in a previous life, and you understand taxation and all those implications as it comes along with the business. So could you talk a little bit to the group about your background before we get into our 5 questions?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm a St. Paul native, lived in the Twin Cities my entire life, graduated from St. Thomas in accounting, and then I have a master's in tax, of all things, from the University of Minnesota. So I spent the first 15 years of my career really in finance and tax, worked at Ecolab and for a big part of that, as well as public accounting, and then eventually got more into selling consulting services, which has really led well into my current career here at Sunbelt. And I've been at Sunbelt now for 10 years, top broker or runner-up basically every year since 2012. So it's been a really good run. Fortunate to have a great team here. So a lot of people aren't aware, but we have almost 60 people in our Minneapolis office.
Oh, wow.
All work together, right, to help business owners with the transition of their business. And sometimes it's, a quick transition, and sometimes we work with them for several years before they're really ready to go. So we welcome, the opportunity to meet with people at any stage and really start setting that stage for how are they going to eventually transition, and how can we make sure that they maximize not only their sale price, but really get what they want out of the transition in their next stage of life.
And it looks like you work with a variety of different industries as well as size of businesses too.
Yeah, pretty much every industry. We really focus more on Main Street and smaller businesses. So generally businesses with 100 million in revenue or less, and probably 95% of what we do is businesses with 5 million in revenue or less. So, there's a lot of businesses out there in that range.
And they drive America, right? Drive the growth.
They do.
Wonderful. Well, let's jump into our questions. So again, simple process here, 5 questions. We're going to focus on, 5 specific questions as it pertains to the industry trends in your business in particular. So first question. How's your company, how's Sunbelt Business Brokers shifting in today's unique business environment?
Yeah, it's truly been a crazy time for everybody. I think it's really been difficult for many people. We're fortunate, I think, overall, that our business hasn't suffered terribly from this. We certainly had a time where we everybody took a back, laid low for a little bit. A lot of people still working from home. And certainly as we're meeting with buyers and sellers, a lot of it is being done via Zoom or conference calls versus in-person meetings. But we will still do some in-person meetings, just making sure we social distance and wear masks as appropriate.
Okay, wonderful. So second question, what are the top 3 questions that you're consistently hearing from your clients today?
Probably one of the first one is really, is anybody still looking to buy a business right now? Mm-hmm. People are kind of surprised to hear that that's actually, we have a growing number of buyers at the current time. And then, so as we explain that, yes, people are still looking to buy a business right now, then their next question is, well, are they looking to just get deals? And the reality is no, there's still people with money on the sidelines. So there's the typical investors that are still looking to buy businesses and looking for good quality businesses. At the same time, there's a number of people that unfortunately have been laid off because of COVID, and they're looking to take a little more control of their own future by finding a business that they believe they can run for the next 5-10 years, whatever it might be, and provide their own salary and their own opportunities.
That's
so
great.
That'd be the second one. I'm trying to think of third question. I know, are banks lending?
That's a great one.
Yep. So that's, a lot of people are just curious about that, especially with all the PPP loans that went out and the EIDL loans that went out and all the government stimulus. But the reality is banks are still lending, and there's actually some great opportunities offered by the SBA right now that a lot of people aren't aware of for acquiring a business. It's got a short leash on it. I believe it ends at the end of September, but if you do get an SBA loan for acquiring a business between now and the end of September, they'll waive the first 6 months of payments. The SBA will actually pay it for you. So it's not like they're delaying it or, they actually pay it. So there's some great opportunities, and there's banks out there that are still working with buyers and still working with businesses. So
And do you see seller financing as well too?
Yep, absolutely. Seller financing is still a good option, and in some cases, it's really the only option because the banks still have their criteria, and a lot of that is driven by the Small Business Association for a lot of the loans. It's the right way to go.
Okay, wonderful. So what are the top 3 things that any business should be doing today to prepare for the post-COVID-19 business environment?
There's so many things, but I was just with a business owner last night who she's had her business for 10 years, and she said, we're shaking it up. We're really reassessing the team, moving them around, putting people in new spots, and really just looking at, from an operational perspective, who's going to fit best in what seat. I think another thing that's super important right now is to be looking at what opportunities are coming from this. I mean, whenever we have a crisis, there's always some opportunities that come out on the other side. And so thinking about how can your business adapt and take advantage of what could be coming because of operational changes or governmental changes or just consumer changes would be, good. To do that. And then always, look for cash, make sure you've got a cash stash. And if you don't, you might want to consider either looking at the SBA EIDL loans that are still available. It is a loan, it's not going to be forgiven, but it's a pretty cheap interest. And so just making sure you've got your cash available to help you if we do have another shutdown for a small period of time or just even a scale back. And make sure that you're strong and ready to go forward.
Those are great points. And I think this next question touches on that too. What are the biggest risks that small to mid-sized local businesses face today?
Well, I think one of the biggest risks, again, is not having your finances in order and not really planning next 3 to 6 months as we kind of get through the COVID. Sometimes small business owners don't focus on is an exit plan. And if you have some time right now because your business is slower, it's a great time to take a step. And what advisors have you taken into account, whether it's like real estate with you, Chad, if they've got real estate in play, are they making sure that they're going to be able to maximize that upon exit? What about, setting up their estate, or how they're going to transition it? Is it going to be family members? Is it going to be outside party? Is it going to be somebody internally? And just start consulting with some experts to make sure that you've got a strategy in place. And that's a big issue that I often see. People kind of wait, and then all of a sudden, either there's a disaster or they just burn out or health issues or divorce or something causes them to sell and they hadn't planned for it. And I think it's always better if you plan for it. You've got a lot more, you're going to get a better value for your business and you're going to feel better about it.
Yeah, those are great points, especially during even times not like this as well, too, to make sure the foundation is in place. You have those partners in place as well, too.
Right, absolutely.
You know, we're seeing a lot of our clients it's eye-opening for them just in terms of, their systems and processes, just refining those and spending time on them. So it's not bad to have idle time to be able to work on that either. So last question that we have here. So what is the one thing that you would recommend to a client listening today regarding their business?
I would say, just what we were talking about before. If you haven't really thought through your exit, if you don't know what your business is worth, if you're not really 100% sure of how it's valued and what it's worth, take the time to do that. Sunbelt will offer a free consultation. We don't charge for this, to just sit down with you and help you understand what your business is currently worth. And, whether you're ready to sell today or if it's 3, 5, or even 10 years out, some things that you can do to help make sure that you're getting the value that you're looking to get. I would also say, take the time to meet with an exit planner. It's generally, most of them will meet with you for free for the first consultation. And then you can decide, is that something I really want to invest in or doesn't that make sense for me right now? But certainly understanding what your business is worth and where are the opportunities to help ensure that you're going to maximize the value when that time comes is what I would recommend that every business owner do, and then update it on a regular basis.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And I know.
Give just one example. Yep. I just spoke to a business owner yesterday that I had sold his business for him. I guess it was about 1.5 years ago, and he's one of the things he said is we talked basically from 2012 to 2018. So for 6 years, I worked with him just on and off and updating the value of his business and things that he can do to help make sure it's positioned well, which would involve things like, making sure the business isn't just you, that you've got a team in place that can run that business if you're gone for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks, and making sure you have those processes in place. So there's so many things that you can do to help position your business so it's better able to sell when that time comes. And that is what I recommend people do all the time. Do it now and then update it.
Yeah, and I know I put on the screen here too, I know Sunbelt has some post-COVID business planning sessions. You had one earlier this week, and then you've got a follow-up one next week, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And we're doing this with Julie Keys, who is a very accomplished exit planner here in the Twin Cities, and does a fantastic job. So I've been doing this with her. The first one, we were just kind of talking about just very high level on, what happens to your business now that COVID hit. In this next upcoming webinar that is next week on June 30th, we're going to be really talking about some of the value drivers and things that you can do to help make sure that you maximize the value when that time does come to sell. So please join us. That information again is on the webinar. You can go to our website, the Sunbelt website, and register that way as well.
And what's the website address again?
It's www.sunbeltmidwest.com.
Okay, got it. Yep, got it right here. So sunbeltbusiness.com. Peggy, this was incredible, and I know we could talk for hours in terms of local businesses and all the value that you could provide. But if anyone's interested in even just having a conversation regarding your business, where you're at, any recommendations to further support the foundation, and maybe get a valuation too, here's Peggy's contact information. And again, I really do appreciate your time here on 5 Question Friday, and look forward to seeing you face-to-face soon.
All right. Thanks, Chad. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good day.
Okay, you too.